QI35 has had a subsequent real push. I keep seeing that popping up all over the place. People using QI35 product in fair with the shuffle's coming down. it's all kicking off. For the audio viewers, we might have to take a brief break here. We're not going to take a brief break. Dan's just pulling Dan's pulled the whole wall down.
Right, where were we?
Yeah. Right, the 3 words. That's new.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kickpoint, the Golf Gear Show. Thank you for joining us for another week. And if you're watching, there's been a big change on set. Joe, we've switched sides.
We have. We had a brief discussion yesterday. It turns out both of us had been harbouring secret concerns about not showing our best sides. I brought it up. And it was a revelation to you. You were like, I'm the same. Let's switch.
I'd been thinking about it as well. And I didn't know whether to broach it or not, because once you're set, it's like ants and deck. They're always on the same side. But, you know, we're so irrelevant, it doesn't really matter, does it, Joe?
Well, no, for a start. But if we were Joe and Dan, are we now Dan and Joe?
Because they're seeing it. I'm now on the left for those listening. Joe's on the right. It's now Dan and Joe.
Joe, that's fine. I can cope with
fine. That works. That works. I'm happy to have my name first. Yeah, good. Happy that everyone's seeing what I consider my best side now. And same for you.
It's big news. Yeah.
So welcome. That's the biggest change we've had recently. Coming up this week, we're going to be analysing what the heck's going on with Rory McIlroy. Not sort of mentally.
Not emotionally.
That's not for us to be talking about. However, the drive has been incredibly strange since we last sat and recorded. Driver creeping has crept in. Changes, QI35, QI10. We're going to analyse that, do a bit of a deep dive. The cool board's back, large letter caps, wearing no glove, and using a bag rain cover. They're coming in this week. And the Whitby, Collin Morikawa. I feel like an eminent world player. He's always there or thereabouts, and we've not done his bag yet. So that's this week, Joe. Excited?
I am excited, yes. Got several opinions I'd like to get off my chest.
Lovely. And how are you, darling?
Yeah, very, very well, thank you, sweetie.
You look like Kate Moss in 2003. I can barely see you when you turn around. You look so slick. Tell the good listener and viewer how you are.
I'm all right. I've just been putting a little bit of effort into myself.
Oh, that's nice.
For a change. Been looking back at some podcasts and looking at the several chins on display and
all the breathing.
And the heavy breathing.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, really sorry.
Sorry about him.
So hopefully that will end now. Yeah, I've dropped just over a stone in the last month.
You look well for it, I must say.
Mate,
apart from the fact your trousers have been down your knees all afternoon.
Yeah, they did fall down going up the stairs, didn't they? Which was a little bit embarrassing. But you know, these are the hazards of looking after yourself. So go careful.
Go careful, everybody. So well done, Joe. You're looking well. I'm well, thanks.
I did ask at the start, but you just chose to ignore it.
Been playing some golf. I want to give a shout out to 2 golf courses I played recently.
Go on.
Ross on Wye.
Yes.
Which you own some sort of record at?
No,
or what? No, you won something.
I think I won the Pro-Am at Ross on Wye once.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
I don't believe it's a record. I believe several other people have won that.
Well, it's a record that you won the Pro-Am in that year.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a record score that year.
What was the year?
Oh, I don't know. 2012, 2013, something like that. Probably.
Lovely golf course.
Yeah, gorgeous.
I really enjoyed it.
Not really my style as a sort of a long, high-speed whacker with not much in terms of accuracy on offer. It's very, dare I say, claustrophobic.
Yeah,
trees everywhere.
Driving doesn't really need to come out as often as you'd perhaps like, but I'm a bit of a nudger, and Royal Fulford Heath's a nudger's golf course.
And you're on a bit of a run, aren't you?
I've broken 83 times in a row.
Which is big for you, isn't it?
So one was at Ross on Wye, which I was buzzing about. Then we went down to Ashburnham in South Wales, which, in my opinion, barring the 2 holes that bookend it, so 1 and 2, 17, 18, is one of the best links courses you can play in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, 100%. And it feels harsh to say it, doesn't it? But
I feel bad because I like it there. I really like it.
The first and 18 do let it down. They're not awful holes. It's just the first is a bit of a quirky par 3, and there's kind of a fence. It offers certainty. You almost have to cut it round the metal fence. So that's not a great start. But after that, it's just brilliant. Really well laid out. It's always in great nick. I really like it.
I broke 80 round there. Then I broke 80 round Royal Fulford. So it's good to be me right now.
What a time to be Dan.
For anyone who wants to know.
However, hang on. What do you think the catalyst for that has been? Is it have you been working on your grip still? Aim point.
I promise you it's aim point.
Okay.
And it's a mixture of, I played with golf with Jamie Donaldson once a long time ago, not the Ryder Cup winning Jamie Donaldson, the aim point guy. And Reese, who I play with a lot, who read my putts for me in a match semi-recently and has sort of semi-taught me, it's just give me the confidence to roll the rock, and I've held way more putts than I used to. And that's the difference for me between 83 and 79, 78. Simple as that.
I see it, 100% see it, like psychologically. If you think you've got a system, whether it, sometimes these things, even if they are right or not, which I think Aimpoint is for the record, if you're convinced by something, just that peace of mind that I know that that's what's going to do, that this putt is going to do.
Right.
Frees you up. You've got a system. I'm a big systems guy in golf.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, and this
like
is part of that. Whether you like it or not, it's a system that people can get on with or not, and that's fine.
I think I'm going to take a leaf out of Nick Doherty's book. He doesn't use it, but for broadcasting purposes, he went through the process to understand and learn it so he could talk about what the players were feeling. I might do the same. Let's have a chat with Jamie Donaldson, shall we?
That would be nice. However, golf courses are hazardous places, aren't they, Joe?
They are.
I've been hit by a golf ball twice since we last recorded.
Really?
And that was 4 weeks ago. No. So the first one was at Ashburnham, and the practice putting green, right by the clubhouse, but it runs along the 18th, which is a bizarre golf hole for those who haven't played it or been, which sort of doglegs a bit. You can go over the practice green, which is out of bounds if you're long enough. Anyway, I'm down on my haunches taking a picture of a laser rangefinder for the Golf Monthly website I'm reviewing.
Never off. You're always working.
Hey, and that was on my holiday.
You hear that, bosses?
Yeah, that was on my holiday. Anyway, I'm down on my haunch taking a lovely hero picture of this laser, and I hear a huge shout of 4, to be fair to these lads. And I've just sort of gone into the sort of fetal position and gone, oh God. This ball has bounced once on the putting green, whizzed over the back of my neck, sort of clipped the hood. I was wearing a little hooded number, clipped it, and then carried on in bounds, fortunately for this chump. And there it went. So that was
That's not a hit. I'm not taking that as a hit.
It was a hit.
If it's bounced, that's not a hit. It's taken all the sting out of it on the putting green. It's just tickled your hair on the way by. That's not a hit.
It tickled my mullet on the way through.
Yeah. Oh, it was awful. My hair was a right mess.
Traumatic.
Bounce. Get a grip.
And then Burgess Hill Golf Club in the south of England. Now, I won't talk about my experience there because I'll get mean.
Okay.
What did happen though was on the 5th tee. It's a little 9-hole, briefly kept 9-hole course, 6 deep. 6 groups deep on a tee.
You just said you weren't going to talk about your experience.
Figure that out.
Straight into your experience.
Figure that out.
But go on.
Figure that out, Joe.
Yeah.
Shrink the game.
I don't. You've told me this on 2 separate occasions off the pod, so I don't need to hear it again.
Sat on a bench.
Yeah.
Waiting patiently for these 6 groups to play.
Did a ball gently roll up to your toe? What happened?
No shout of 4. Sat on this bench. Bounce in my elbow.
Another bounce.
It bounced again.
You've not been hit.
So if I get hit by a car, but it's 10 mile an hour, are you saying you didn't get hit by a car?
Correct.
What's the minimum speed you have to get hit by a car at?
I've never thought about it, but I know if a ball bounces, you've not really been struck.
Fine.
That's what I know.
Be careful, everybody, and shout 4. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, dude, but that... we could go off on a tangent here. We're conscious of trying to speed these up, but...
forget it. We had a lovely message today saying, I like your length.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. What was I going to say? I was going to say about... There's an actual message in here that I think is this to public safety announcement? I think some of the facilities that I've been to of late, the new influx of players into the game is brilliant. Like, it's so good, and like loads of people talking about golf, and retail is booming, and it's really, really good. I think there has to be some mention of safety here and there, because obviously the people you've gone out on the course there and you've been near fatally struck on when it's bounced 4 times, but no shout. Maybe they don't know you're supposed to shout or what you're supposed to shout. Who's telling people that?
Correct.
The driving ranges I've been to lately where they've gone all top tracer and screens, and it's become more like 10-pin bowling than a practice area, which again, cool, that's fine. I love it. I like hearing some noise, and it's really fun. But my God, there's some balls dinging around there like a war zone. People roofing them off.
Yeah, you took your little one there, and it was just a little bit of carnage on the weekend.
Yeah, the mats
isn't it?
were too far back, and so you could easily toe end them into this metal stanchion upright, which several people did. And there was balls flying everywhere. It's not going to be long before
something is properly hurt.
So I think there's
which I did.
Yeah. So this is kind of equipment chat. Just let's have fun, but let's have fun safely.
What's the Neil Warnock thing? Enjoy it, but enjoy it by being disciplined.
That's it. Yeah.
Right here. So anyway, that's what we've been up to over the last week or so. And actually, before we get onto this Rory McIlroy thing, which is something we'd love to have reacted to on the moment, we are bringing soon, we don't know when yet, a more kick point. We're going to do another episode a week on a Monday, filmed at home, so we can react to the weekend stories.
We've had a bit of feedback, haven't we? A lot of people saying, like, love the pod, great stuff. Could you not just do it once a week so we can hear, like, immediate reaction?
Which is a very valid point, because every podcast I listen to is filmed weekly.
But the reason for that is we wanted a studio set up because we wanted to have a nice high production value so people would click on the clips.
Which we do, don't we, guys?
Which we do, because our production team are amazing. But it would be cool to now, I think, and we've had a chat about it, subsidise that with that little Monday show to be a bit more topical, a bit more timely. It'd be a lot shorter. So
will it though?
Well, we suggest it's going to be. We're just working out the logistics of bringing that together so it doesn't look and sound awful.
Correct.
I sent you a WhatsApp last night, didn't I?
You did, ignored it.
You didn't read, yeah.
Ignored it. But why I want to say this is we're not going to bring it out just yet. Probably end of the summer. But if you've got any ideas of what you want that to sound like, what you want us to talk about, this is
what you want to call it, because we need a name for it.
I was just going to call it the Monday episode.
Okay, well, but that feels terrible. If we could have some suggestions, that'd be the Monday episode. How'd you come up with that?
So if you've got any ideas for that, we'd really appreciate it, because this is your show more than it is ours, really. So listen to the feedback, and I'm really excited to put those together, actually, because as much as I love doing this, we aren't on the button as much as we'd like to be. This will give us that platform. So let us know what you think.
Are there any work calls that we don't like on a Monday that we could schedule our recording for?
Yeah, the 9:30, everyone, what are you up to this week? I'm just sat there barely awake.
I don't mind the start of the week. Yeah, you're not a morning guy, are you?
No, so these are, so we're going to do them audio only to start for logistical purposes and because of my face in the morning, which is miserable.
So it'll only be me that gets to see that. Thank you.
Early nights on Sundays. I'm going to talk to you in the morning. Anyway, that's all to come, but we are going to talk about Rory now, because as an equipment podcast, it's something we've got to talk about. I know this was a while ago now that his driver got found for being over the speed limit. Is that right?
Kind of, yeah. So it's a weird way of putting it, but yes.
Bad way of putting it.
Yeah, it was over the speed limit.
And I just want to know...
Do you reckon he has to do a speed awareness course? Or does he just take the points?
No, because it's his first time, you get the speed awareness course.
Yeah, okay.
Next time will be the points.
Okay.
So I just want to pick your brains, really, and what's going on here, and why can't Rory just get back into a driver he really likes?
Well, yeah, let's get to the test first. Like, a lot of people have covered this because, again, we're not as timely as we'd like to be on this, but we're fixing that.
We're going to fix that.
We are going to fix that. The test is basically a CT test. So measures the speed the ball's coming off the face to make sure that a driver isn't producing too much trampoline effect. Back in the, I'm going to say late 90s, you had like the Callaway ERC that were made super thin and super springy, and they were ludicrous distance you could get off those. So that was regulated. The CT test has been brought in to make sure that players are staying within that. So manufacturers build their drivers very close to the legal limit because obviously they want them to be as quick as possible. But what happens over time is when you're hitting it really hard, like Rory does, 130 miles an hour clubhead speed sometimes, repeatedly in the same place, that face, the properties can change. It can thin out a little bit. It just gets springier. So it's called driver creeping. So that the face will get quicker. So if it was measuring bang on the limit when he got it, after a period of time, it will just get a little bit quicker and becomes non-conforming. The testing of it is a bit weird because it's random. Only at certain events, only a certain number of players.
But it's also shrouded in who gets done. This information was leaked. It's not public information.
So it's supposed to be, I don't know whether it's officially supposed to be confidential. It's just not one of those things that's spoken about. But I've heard Xander was done a couple of years ago at the Open Championship. Richard Bland, friend of the pod, was done and was running around the day before the Open trying to find a new driver. It's a very regular occurrence. Scheffler was the same week as Rory.
Scheffler's driver. It's a regular occurrence for it to be tested.
Yeah. To
get found to be over the limit feels rarer, and even rarer still is for that information to make it to us.
Yeah, what feels odd to me is why would you just not test everyone? It's like a 2-minute test. So why would it not be like...
Correct.
In all the time that people are at the events, there is... You're telling me you can't find 2 minutes to send the agent or the caddy off with the driver to the testing area set up on the range. That has to be checked. That has to be serial number recorded. It becomes part of
the week. It's part of your routine
because
every week ahead of every tournament.
If we're only checking 30 of the 150 field or whatever it is, there could be 50 drivers out there that are illegal, essentially. So it feels like if you're going to do it, you've got to do it properly. Yeah, that's what I would
totally
say.
Agree.
But yeah, going back into the point of like he's struggled a bit since, hasn't he? He did a bit of testing, interestingly, before that whole debacle. Do you remember he put the QI35 in at Bay Hill, struggled a bit with it, got his old stuff Ubered from Florida. We've covered that. So he went back into his old stuff. with great results. So they ended up winning the Masters. And then, obviously after that, it became non-conforming, or who knows before? We don't know, because it was just tested when it was tested. Then he's just had a bit of a struggle since then trying to get it right, hasn't he? He went into a QI 35 in Canada, I think it was, wasn't it? The Canadian Open. And played the worst golf he's played in years, missed the cut by a country mile.
And he normally likes it round there. He plays
he's
every
won
year.
it a couple of times, I think, hasn't he? Yeah. Really struggled. So it was back to the drawing board. It's a tough one for TaylorMade, because obviously it looks like their top two players, Scheffler and Rory, are back in old products, having both dabbled and tried it and feeling like they're better off in the old product. So that doesn't feel like a great look. It doesn't mean the driver's bad necessarily. It just, I mean, you can shrug your head. I've tested it. It's not bad.
Yeah, but it's not as good as QI10. I think that's a fair place to be. Or is that unfair?
Well, I think it's unfair. I think it depends on your delivery. It depends on what you're looking for. It's got some different characteristics. Like Tommy's in QI 35.
There's plenty of them in QI 35. Are you saying maybe
Morikawa.
QI10? Yeah, fair point. Bit harsh probably on TaylorMade. But you're saying that QI10 just suited Rory and Scotty, and it's unfortunate for TaylorMade that these are their two most
prominent players.
high-profile players. Did you see Rory taking bullets for TaylorMade at a press conference after Canada? What was after Canada?
Wasn't the one where they're asking him, "What have you sorted out?"
So what are you in? What drive are you in?
TaylorMade.
It's a TaylorMade product. I'm not
Was he
really
American?
Don't know. It's a TaylorMade product. It's a TaylorMade product. I was like, good
and
for
then he
you,
said,
Rory.
"Well, which one?" He said, "Well, come out and see me hit balls. You'll find out." Because he didn't even want to say it. I don't think he was taking bullets for TaylorMade though. I think he was just being deliberately elusive with the press, because he's got a thing at the moment, hasn't he? But yeah, back to the driver. So went back to the drawing board after Canada. He actually drove the ball nicely at the US Open.
Can't believe he made the cut, because when I saw him playing in Canada, driving the way he was.
Not only did he make the cut, he finished top 20.
Yeah, he had a really good Sunday, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a decent Sunday. Shot 60. Yeah, really good in fairness. 67. Top 20, and he finished one shot away from Adam Scott, who everyone was talking about the whole week about, oh wow, this is incredible, blah blah blah, what an incredible week he's having. One shot away.
US
Rory's
Opens
bar is just so high, and that event is absolutely wild. But yeah, he was back in a QI10, but a different QI10 to the original QI10. So he had a QI10 dot, which we've spoken originally, which he'd had for whatever it is, 18 months now. And the dots, which we've spoken about probably on this pod before, is kind of if the LS and the core model had a baby. It's got a bit of characteristics of both, some spin characteristics from LS with the MOI characteristics of the core head. So I believe he tried another dot head in between this as well. I think he's tried several things. But back at the US Open, he was in a QI10, so previous generation, but the core model, no dot head. So a slightly different profile and characteristics to the previous driver. And yeah, like we were just chatting about it, isn't it? Why? So I heard another podcast talking, how can it be so difficult to just plug and play a new head? Like just get the same driver.
That's my exact thought. I'm like, right, QI35 is not worked for whatever reason. Fair play for trying it again. Just get him the same QI10 head, and away we go to where he was back at the Masters and before, really.
Which for everybody, the majority of everyone listening, you, me as well, would probably be fine. But there are tolerances within these heads, which is why it's so difficult for someone who's that good at driving and who's that precise is going to notice certain things. So, for example, the tour heads you get, they are essentially the same as the retail heads, bar like the dot head that I've just spoken of there. But if you get to the core head, it's going to be a retail core head, but it just goes through a few more tests. So they test everything in terms of its CT number to make sure it's conforming. They test face angle, so when it sits on the floor, how to a degree, point whatever of a degree, how open or closed does it sit? Mm-hmm. Loft, exact loft. So it might say 9 or 8 on the head, but it could be 7.6 or 9.4. What else would you measure? There's a couple of other parameters. Lie angle, so how it sits as a lie angle. So it's very, very difficult to match all of those parameters. So you might find another driver that's bang on the exact loft that he had it at in his original one. When you're trying to replicate that, great. But that might be a degree or two or degree or so flatter or more upright, which is then a problem. Some might say, well, it's all right, you've got the loft sleeve with TaylorMade then, just change it on there. But if you change that, you're changing something else. Mm-hmm. To get the combination of the same lie angle, the same loft, the same CT number, and there's also other factors in play, like there's intangible stuff internally in the head. The way these heads are built, a lot of these, they're not just one-piece structures. There's pieces that are glued together and put together. And if a different amount of resin or glue has gone in a different place when that club is built together, the CG location will be slightly different. And whereas you or I might not necessarily notice that, someone of Rory's level is going to feel that, and it might just produce a slight more draw bias or fade bias than he's used to, which then becomes a problem, because what do? I'll just have to hold this driver off a little bit. You don't want him adjusting his technique, the greatest driver of the golf ball in the world. So it's just so difficult because of those reasons to get an exact plug and play head. And what I've said, maybe it isn't that relevant for you and I, it wouldn't be as dire. I've had a couple of heads of exactly the same. When I've used, for example, an old TaylorMade 2017 M2, loved the head, ordered another one, same loft, put it on, nothing. It was spinning
really?
all the time. It was spinning like 500-600 revs more, and I was just losing it right. And I don't know whether it was face angle, CG,
you
whatever.
You can't really.
It was on the same shaft.
Out, can you? Yeah.
It was on the same shaft. It was on the same settings. The weights were in the same place. Everything was the exact same, but it was just a very different spin profile. So we spoke about this, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before. One of the biggest tips I ever received when I was sort of going through whether England squads or whatever was, if you go for a fitting, this was Darrell Evans actually who first told me this, who's a guy who worked on the TaylorMade Tour vans, who I've recently been chatting to again actually. And he said, look, the biggest thing you could ever do, the best thing for your game, if you go for a fitting and you're trying out a driver and it works and you like it and you like what you're seeing and it feels good and it just feels right, demand you take that head. Not, give them, if it's got sky marks on, if it's scuffed, if it's whatever, doesn't matter. Take that head.
Wow.
Because simply put, the chances of you finding the same head with the same properties are just nil. The tolerances on loft between companies can change. You can have a 9-degree head that I've measured some 9-degree heads from some companies at like 10.7, nearly 11 degrees. So there are tolerances on these lofts. So yeah, I would say, probably said it before, but if you can, just make sure you take that head. You might have to wait for it. You can say, look, order the new one in, but then put that head into the fitting matrix, and I want that head.
I want that specific head.
It's almost like, like when you're in a hospital and people say, Dwight Schrute on the US office said, if you have the baby, you've got to mark the baby in case someone switches it. So like put a Sharpie mark on its forehead.
Yeah, that is not medical advice we'd recommend at Kick Point.
No. Yeah, that's purely satirical comedy. But you could do that with the fitting head. So look a bit weird at the end of the thing, scribbling your initials on in Sharpie.
GP.
Dan's head, don't touch. But yeah,
I see what you're getting at.
Yeah.
So 2 questions.
Go on.
The main one I've got is, was Rory's QI10 that he won the Masters with just a complete unicorn for him? And it's going to be nearly impossible to find the exact same spec. He might be able to get one near for the rest of the year, but it's the one that he actually won the Masters with, a total unicorn that just gelled with him to perfection. Well said. I've always thought that.
Anything else? No, I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I've not looked at the reason I was learning because I haven't really looked in depth at the stats. I think there's probably been times through his career where he may have even driven the ball better.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that that's a unicorn driver. It just means that he's probably worked through 6 or 7 options or more maybe to find that head that he's perfectly comfortable with. But it's findable. But it's just, I guess, once you've played that for 18 months, you're so used to those characteristics. Nick Doherty was talking about it in our last episode. You build up that sort of emotional, almost connection with that drive. You know what it does in certain circumstances, and they do vary. Like we all talk about how great the manufacturing is, and it's incredible. But there's still individual pieces of kit that will have their little nuances, like anything in the world almost. Like my TV, I've got 2 of the same TVs at home in different rooms.
You're doing well for yourself.
Very well. Podcast is flying. One of them just takes a bit longer to warm up.
Yeah.
When I press the Smart Hub button to get all the menus, that's got to wait 30 seconds for it to get going. The other one's like, bang, lightning. They're the same thing.
Interesting. Good analogy.
It's like they've all got their little individual characteristics. That's what I think.
So Rory can find that, and the shock from the layman and the people who aren't into their equipment just
What's
watching
Tom Layman
it.
got to do with this?
Watching it, who don't understand equipment, as well as you do are just like, oh, why can't you get it the week after? He can't. He's got to work on that, and it might take him a month, 2 months.
Correct, and you might have to, like Adrian, who we're lucky enough to be interviewing out in America soon. He might have gone to meet him at his home club with 30 heads to work through. They'll all be numbered. Do you remember Max Homer's what's in the bag? There was like an MH2 sticker on or an MH8 or something like that.
As testing a new one.
Yeah. So you know which head, you've got to label it, write the results, write the spin. It'd be a whole process. So he might have just worked, Lord knows how many they worked through to get one that he was using at US Open, which he drove the ball way, way better with. So it looks like he's close there. But it's just, they're so individually nuanced. Almost, again, I've spoken about it with 3-wood at length before, why players stay in 3-woods for so long is for the same reason, so nuanced in terms of CG. The CG is a bit closer to the face, so it can be a bit more volatile. You're asking it to do a lot. You want it to perform off the tee. You want it to perform off the floor. You want it to do loads of things for you, and they can be that little bit volatile. So when you find one, people tend to stay in them for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. Nicholas, who I'll talk about in a later episode, had the same 3-wood for 37 years.
That plays,
That's a bolt play. But and 3-woods is a different kettle of fish because they don't measure the CT, they don't measure the speed. So you could have as hot a 3-wood as you want because I think the measurement stops at 12 or 13 degrees with the USGA. So as long as you've got more than 12 or 13 degrees on your 3-wood, it could be an absolute rocket launcher. So why would players, they're not wearing out faces on 3-wood like you would with a driver and getting them illegals. So you could just stay with them for yonks. And I think McIlroy flippantly once said, second shout out for the 2017 M2. I think he flippantly once said, look, if I didn't have to change drivers every year, I'd still be playing the 2017 M2. And I don't think it was that tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Me too. And it's interesting because it makes you think when these players who are in equipment contracts have to change their driver every year, that must bug them. I want to, next time we see one, I want to ask maybe a player that isn't so contractually obliged to nod along, one that's a bit on the edge, one that doesn't really care. I don't know who we'd have to meet to ask them that question. But
like Richard Mansell, who we spoke to, he's a Titleist staff player. But they said to him, we just want you in the equipment that's working best for you. They're not bullying him into GT at all. He's still in TSI.
Good.
3, couple of generations old.
More of that.
We've seen it a lot this year. And that's something I think we've brainstormed asking a few of these manufacturers and the tour guys is, are we there? Have we peaked? Because I think there's been a while now when drivers arguably aren't getting that much better.
No one wants to say it though, Joe. No one can say it.
The best players in the world, a lot of them are using drivers that are 2, 3, 4 generations old. Aaron Wright still in an M6. Do you think if he was finding 15 more yards out of something else, he wouldn't be going for that? Of course he would. So interesting to see what some of the manufacturers will say to the allegation. Sounds like a strong word. Or
pointing the finger.
The concept that where do we go in driver now for the next 10 years? Where do you go? Do you keep telling the same forgiveness story? Because it's not that quantifiable and you don't have to back it up because it's anecdotal rather than measurable. Interesting, Joe. If I do say so myself.
Why aren't they just CT testing every driver at every event? That I need to know an answer to that.
Yes, me
Good
too.
stuff. So that's what's going on with Rory from an equipment point of view. But the rest of it is hearsay.
He does seem a little bit more settled. He drove it well at US Open. Be interesting to see how that goes at Portrush. I can't wait to see how he performs there because it's weird at the moment, isn't it? He's fractious.
Oh, I feel bad for him because I can totally get something's going on, but I can totally get how you have the wind knocked out your sails after completing what your whole life goal is.
Yeah.
Horrible feeling. I can only imagine how lost he feels.
Yeah, someone mentioned it was a bit like Johnny Wilkinson after the 2003 World Cup.
What do you do?
He kicked that field goal and it just didn't feel like he imagined it was going to feel and he slipped into a depression. I'm not saying Rory's there, but
it's that he's like, if I can't get up for a Open at Portrush and I can't get up for anything, so I hope for goodness sake he gets up for that Open and he at least enjoys the thing.
Correct.
I don't really care if he wins it or not. There we go. Good chat. Good knowledge for everybody. Time for the cool board, folks.
I'll get it.
Wheeler in. Now, if you're new here, welcome, firstly. The cool board is, well, imagine the cool wall off Top Gear.
Sorry, everyone.
Joe the pro.
Sorry, everyone.
Ruining the set as he walks through with the cool board. Now we bring some golf items on here and we decide whether they're cool or not. It's as simple as that. And I do have some correspondence, Joe. the people
Dan,
have spoken. Oh my goodness.
This is some of the worst putting up of a board. Rhea, you made me put this board up. You were a lot better at it than I was.
No.
Where was...
No, we always put the board up, Joe.
Well, I don't.
Rhea will hand it to us because we switch sides. Sunday bags were cool. Low on cool. That's why it's fallen off. No, below Sunday pins.
Oh, there's a hole there.
Oh, goodness me. Right. This is the cool one.
Sorry, everyone.
Can't be bothered to explain it, quite frankly. However, we have had some correspondence.
Oh.
One of the strongest emails we've received in our 1 year history here at Kickpoint from Connor Keenan. I say unfortunately works for us. I mean, fortunately works for us. But unfortunately, he's felt the need to send this, right?
I'm looking forward to hearing this because it came last night. I scanned Reddit because I was busy and thought I'd set aside some time to actually read it. So this is going to be my genuine first listen.
And I think this is ultimately what everybody's been feeling from some of our decisions.
You're
going to
read the whole thing because it felt like quite a long one.
Gentlemen, as one of the many hardworking members of the Kickpoint team behind the scenes, it is with deep regret that I write this email. Connor writes the newsletter for FYI, just to kind of... It's not written by me, even though it says that. I'm going to I like being honest with people, and he writes it. He does a very good job of it, actually. But we might take that job off of him now.
Better than you could do.
Sacked for disobedience.
Really?
I was at first excited at the addition of the Cool Board segment on the show. However, as the weeks have gone on, I feel my chest tighten each time the weekly segment begins, subconsciously preparing myself as best as I can for the egregious verdicts to come from two people I have great respect for. Backhanded, but thank you.
Wasn't it just?
Why is Malbon ice cold but Sunday Red uncool?
Because that's the truth.
That's what that's the decision we made.
Yeah.
Lab putters are as cool as your mother kissing you goodbye outside the school gates. And yet it's hard. Sorry, I read that poorly. It's a good line. Lab putters are as cool as your mother kissing you goodbye outside the school gates. And yet it's harmless animal head covers that are deemed deeply uncool.
Keep going.
I could critique each entry, but I want to focus on two examples that have deeply concerned me, and I'm sure many of the hashtag Kickpoint Nation.
The pointers.
We're doing that. We're doing hashtag Kickpoint Nation.
Okay.
Yeah. Dangling elastic groove cleaners on golf bags are the nerdiest, most sourceless accessory one can have. But Joe's logic was having clean grooves is cool and leads to lower scores. Do you know what else can lead to lower scores? Cheating. I presume this would fall into the cool category based on some of the logic used. I feel the cool board falling beneath me now.
That's good.
He's kind of seen straight through us.
It's a good argument.
I keep my grooves perfectly clean with the groove cleaner in my pocket and without such a repugnant device hanging from my golf bag. Thank you very much. Finally, and worst of all, aim point. If Satan himself played golf, he would use aim point. This barbaric ritual is a slam dunk for seriously uncool and yet finished middle of the pack. Perhaps because a certain member of the show has turned to the dark side and is starting using it without informing the listeners. I digress. If you'd like to discuss further on or offline, you know where to find me. I eagerly await your response. Connor Keenan, concerned e-commerce writer for Golf Monthly. Well, he's hung us out to dry.
Where to start? Right. First and foremost, it's opinions. And opinions are like anuses. Everyone has one, right? So they're all different as well.
Are they?
I believe so. So yeah, we're not here to
we are here to
agree.
listen. We are here to listen to people, though,
of course,
Joe, and be balanced.
But I'm not prepared to relitigate why dangly groove cleaners are cool. I think we covered that, and that's just where we netted out, and that's all we can do. I wouldn't mind revisiting aim point. I feel
bad for not disclosing I didn't disclose interest. You know how if you get called for jury service, you have to disclose a relevant interest.
That's my mum who's under arrest.
That's my mum. I can't be in the jury for that.
Yeah.
And that's on me. Who
kisses me outside the school gates.
I do have a story about that, but not for now.
God.
Not the kiss. It wasn't kissing.
Okay. I think he's raised a valid point about the aim point thing. I think because I knew you were into it, because we'd had a couple of stern chats about being overly harsh on certain things behind the scenes, I think I gave it too much.
Yeah.
Too much
I do
rope.
feel we've lost some of our sting recently, and we've kind of maybe pushed some things into cool that quite frankly shouldn't have been there.
And I think my argument about people waddling up their line and straddling like they'd had an accident,
I think
is a strong one, which was factored in, which is why it's low on there. Were this my cool wall, it would be in the heart of uncool. But I think it's a collaborative effort, isn't it? We have to get to a consensus.
And the collaboration leans out to the listener and the viewer. We still haven't had 10 specific correspondents on one thing yet.
Yeah,
We've
you
had
can spark
2
a
or
referendum.
3.
You
Please
can spark
do.
this. And Connor, if you've got 10 mates, which obviously we know you haven't, but if you could find another 9 and get them to email in, we'll rectify
We'll
that.
do it.
We'll
do
have
it.
to. Those are the rules.
Them's
so
the
get
rules.
on it.
So thank you, Connor, though. And again, any stern correspondence like that, we are an open book.
Absolutely. We're here for criticism
But we still haven't had 10. So
well
what
as
are
the
we
praise.
supposed to do? We can't guess what they're thinking.
No. Yeah, get it in there.
I do think the call board's just falling down because
I've not propped it up right.
because you're destroying the set. But more because I can't quite get my head around the things that are logically sound and cool or not. And I feel like we've mixed some things up.
I say it on almost every one we bring up. You keep delving into the functionality, which I do, as he brightly pointed out with Groove Clean. I was like, what's not cool about having cool grooves?
Cool grooves.
Clean grooves. And he's right, but I think that you have to factor in the functionality and what that represents. And as you've said about, I can't remember which one it was, it was aim point. If you're prepared to look like that much of a fool to play better golf, then we're into that.
So into that.
So
I'm into better golf.
If you're prepared to have a dangly groove cleaner, which doesn't look tremendous.
But that's our current logic. And I'm willing to be persuaded otherwise.
Yeah, face value, that doesn't look cool. But what that represents is a player that's just doesn't care what you think, which I'm fine with. That's cool. The logic I'm going with.
Anyway, we've got 3 more this week and we're going to keep persisting until we either get bored or we get too many angry emails.
We might have 4 more. I've got a surprise.
I want to start with this one, which is... I think someone may have sent this in, and if you did, you know who you are. Large letter hats.
Have we done this?
No, we did rope hats. Very different things.
Oh, and then you touched on this.
And for those listening, large letter hats, and it's been a plague. Unfortunately, the best place in the world, Augusta National.
I'm sure we've done this.
It's not on the board though, is it, mate? So figure that one out. Yeah?
Well, it might be on the floor when I dropped it.
No, that was Sunday bags.
Okay.
Cretin.
Right.
It's these large letter hats. It's mostly coming from majors and big golf courses. And the example I've got here is a hat that just says Pimento from the Masters, right? It's just a hat with a word on it. I don't like it and I don't get it. More examples at Valhalla PGA Championship 2024. Halla. Do one. Oakmont. Mont. What the hell is wrong with people? To just wear a hat with big letters on. Who do you think you are? Egg salad was another hat. It's a trend I don't like, and I don't like the people who buy them. Okay.
I'm going to add a little bit of balance.
Please do. We are a balanced podcast.
How am I going to add some balance? Oh, I don't care. I'm going to have to...
That's fair.
They don't bother me. We have discussed this. I think another podcast, in particular, No Laying Up, hate them. And are regularly almost wearing them as a forfeit, I think, amongst them.
Yeah, because you look ridiculous.
Okay.
You got a hat that says Pimento on it.
But isn't the Pimento thing kind of it's one of those if you know things? Like if you're wearing a Pimento hat, people are going to go, oh yeah, the Pimento sandwiches at Augusta. It's a if you know thing.
But you're shouting it at me. It's loud. It's very much there.
So is it the big letters that bother you? Because you didn't like big letters on the golf balls.
No.
Do you like IKEA? Because those are very big letters.
Very big letters. So, because I'm so small, I get quite overwhelmed by them.
Yeah, that was something that came up recently. Someone called down.
Someone called me small.
The little fella went to dinner with a friend of mine, Sam Perrin, and he said, "Who's that little fella you do the podcast with? He's good, isn't he?" I was like, "Little fella."
Little fella.
There's only 2 of us. And Dan's 6 foot. I was like, no, he's
I'm 5'11". I would never say I'm 6 foot.
Pushing 6 foot. He's like, no, he wouldn't have it. He was of course he's not. He's like 5. Surely I can see the dimensions of him. He's like 5'4", 5'5".
Because I'm sat next to Bigfoot. That's my problem.
Adonis.
Sorry, slim foot.
Slim foot. Adonis is what you mean. Anyway, we digress. Yeah, I'm happy to totally move over to your whim here because I've got they're straight in meh. Straight in meh
so
for me.
So I can nudge you into uncool then.
I wouldn't look at someone who had one on and go,
I think they're uncool.
Actually, would I? I think if someone turned up...
Miguel, okay, let's fall back to Miguel. Again, if you're new here and we can't quite decide, we try and get into Miguel Angel Jimenez's head, who we think's the coolest golfer. Would he think it's cool or not? I think he'd look at you and think, what a chump.
Nuanced again there. I think you turn up to the tee with a big grin on your face going, Pimento, pointing at it. he's going to not. No. If you just saddle on and you don't bring it up, it's just
You
your
just leave
headwear.
your orange pimento hat and don't talk about
subtly
it.
on your head. Yeah, good point.
It's for me, it's the lack of subtlety. It's the randomness of it, and it's the broad. It's the fact it's caught fire and every golf club's doing it that annoys me the most. You're not doing it because you like it. You're doing it because you saw Augusta do it, quite frankly.
You're referring back to another one again here, poker chip ball markers. They came out as a little bit of a niche here and there. And then again, every golf course in the world seemed to have their golf course logoed poker chip ball marker. And it's like, maybe it's the unoriginality of it that bothers you and the copy culture. I don't know.
And Haller and Mont and just like abbreviating these golf courses that don't need it just annoys me. And I think we can go
wherever you like then.
Oh, really? Can you pass me a pin from just on top of that just the shoebox down there? Thank you. Right, well, I pin it up then. I've got the full control of this.
I'm trying to find you an orange one for the hat, but I can't. I could have green for the rope.
Thank you, sir. Could you start me on...
Oh, no, I hate it when you do this.
Stamped wedges.
Stamped wedges.
Personalised stamped wedges. Describe them for people who don't know what they might be.
So most companies now, I think it was only a Titleist thing for ages. Voke used to do it, and you could have, as an option, when you're going down the custom route, you could specify, I think it used to be like up to 4 or 5 letters to personalise your wedge, and they'll stick it in the vise. They'll get the little stamps out, the metal stamps, hand stamp your personal name or initials or buzzword or whatever onto your wedge.
Buzzword.
What buzzword?
Could you put my buzzword on there?
My buzzword is buzz. Yeah. So it's just a way of personalising your golf clubs. For me, does it depend what you have stamped?
Completely.
I remember, this is a story, shout out to my friend Elliot Shaw, who, back when I worked at Celtic Manor, wanted to order a wedge. His wife was ordering some wedges for his birthday, actually, through me. And he took control because he knew his specs and what he wanted, so it wasn't a surprise or anything like that. And I said, do you want some stamp? And he said, oh, yeah, that'd be nice. I'll put some name, and he put like the wedding date on what the gap wedge. And then he's like, I'll go with Nikki's nickname on the lob wedge, and his nickname for her is Boobs.
Boobs.
Just Boobs. Yeah, she's blessed. So I then had to write on the request form for Titleist,
Boobs.
what would you like? 60 degree, 08M grind, black, stamping, boobs. And they sent it back and said,
probably too rude.
Yeah, we can't.
Boobs aren't rude. They're just part of the body.
I think you get it through in 2025, but I think 13, 14 years ago, whatever, when he was ordering these, I don't know if the world was a different place.
Yeah,
but
boobs were shit. No one heard of them. Never
they weren't a thing.
Never heard of boobs.
So they sent it back and weren't allowed. So they had to just change it. I don't know whether he got Nikki or whatever instead. So that was an interesting one. I always like the ability to personalise.
I do as well. Broadly.
However, from a smartness point of view,
neatness.
No, smartness.
IQ. Smartness,
yeah.
Right.
You're dramatically affecting your resale value because who's buying a boobs wedge?
I know plenty of people who buy a boobs wedge.
Okay, ignore the boob wedge. Who's buying one with Dan?
Yeah, or like your daughter's name or some random
like
date.
That.
Or
so you're affecting your resale value.
Who's buying used wedges?
That's I suppose.
So the example I went for here is Jordan Spieth's, which has JS and the Texas Longhorns logo on it in orange.
That.
Really neat. I'm the same as you. I love a customization, and this kind of leans into that pretty perfectly.
Can we add into this laser etching as well? Because like there's a lot of companies now, so Precision Golf will do it. You could just take down, and they do it for sight lines on putters and dots. They've got all sorts of things, but then you can actually laser proper pictures on. You can have like a little portrait of yourself, if you like, on your wedge or something.
Chocolate much.
Yeah, exactly.
A little portrait of myself.
But
on a wedge.
You can get anything done now, and I think
could you get boobs? Could you get boobs?
You could get boobs. I'm sure they do some boobs. I'll find out in the break. But yeah, I was thinking, does it matter what stamp? But I don't think it does, because if it's personal to you and you like it and it's funny.
I can't bemoan somebody putting their daughter's name on a wedge. I can't go, I'm cool. I'm like, oh, that's my daughter, mate. It's like, yeah. And I think they look good anyway, regardless of what you put on there.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't think they don't blow my mind as like, that's the coolest thing ever.
No. But I don't think maybe they're like a meh. Because
they're above mare.
above mare, because it kind of depends what's on there, though.
I think they're kind of cool. I think
kind of cool.
mid
Low on cool.
Mid to low cool.
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 Cool with that?
I'm interested to see what the listeners and viewers think about that, because I think some wedge stamping or those with a wedge stamp have a certain stereotype as the kind of person they are. I'm going to stay very vague on that. Could I have a pin, please, darling?
You can have a pin, sweetie, yes. Any preference on colour?
No. Let's get on with it.
Okay, go with the yellow, hey. I'm going to interrupt with my own random cool board nomination that's come in from our good friend Richard 42 3/4 from Dawlish. Let me see if I can find it quickly, and I'm going to have to quickly vet this.
I'm just still over it.
Yeah, and I'm just finding stuff on a message.
What are you vetting it for? I mean, we've been speaking about booze the last 10 minutes, so I think broadly that the S has hit the fan.
For the cool wall, cool board.
Good
Richard.
reference.
Good, Richard. Low cut ankle socks hidden by shoes. And I wanted to put this to you because you're the well, you know, when they're so cut, they're so low,
like hidden socks.
Yeah, like pop socks.
You can't see the socks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Versus pulled up ankle socks, brackets shin area. He's put here.
That's not an ankle sock then, is it? It's just a sock.
Yeah, a sock then. Okay, can we just let him finish? If I had my socks pulled up at school growing up, so Richard is 42 3/4, very specifically. I think he was 42 and a half before, wasn't he?
Oh, right, yes, sounds about right.
If I had my socks pulled up at school or growing up, I would be called all sorts of names, including...
Careful now.
Can't go with any of them. No, I can't go with any of them. He's put bleep out any that are deemed inappropriate. All of those are inappropriate.
Can I have a read?
Yeah, from there. Can I say any of them?
None of the above.
No, okay, fine. So can't say any of those. So that's his point. I guess it's like well, look at Johnny, for example. Johnny's a cool guy. He's got his dogs out
in the studio.
I mean, they are some of the most weather-beaten,
yeah.
chewed-up shoes I've ever seen in my life. They are awful socks. But, yeah, that's right. The kids of today are like big shin kids, aren't they?
They're obsessed with having their ankle bones out.
Correct.
For reasons I don't know.
No. Covered. I see all the kids of today
with
pulling their socks up.
Sorry, excuse me.
And I saw some post actually the other day on Instagram, some kid laughing, look at the millennials teeing, or the boomers or something, teeing off, whatever it was, because they all just had their shoes on with ankle socks, their ankles out, and he was sort of mocking them. What's cool now? I don't even know.
I don't know. I think a long sock is much better with shorts.
Do you?
Yeah, I'd pull my socks up with shorts, I think. And then with the trouser, I like a low ankle sock like the pros do. You never see a pro with a long sock on, I don't think, do you? And I am looking in that area more than most.
Okay.
So I think it depends on the leg wear you've got on. But I definitely know what you mean about the long sock with the shorts. That's
so is this a non-applicable? You can't put this anywhere because it depends on...
It totally depends on what you're wearing it with. Because I think short socks with shorts don't look great, especially my little chicken legs. I need to hide as much of that as I can.
Well, I'm the same, but I think like when you put an ankle sock up a chicken leg, it thins out. Well, if this is non-applicable, what am I going to do with this sock that I've been hiding in my pocket? I was going to pin it up there, but if it's non-applicable, it's gone.
My mate I play golf with, I'm sorry, Jake, but he dresses, he'll put a nice outfit together and just put the zany socks on, different colours, stripes, ruins the entire outfit. Because on the follow through, he's got his matching trousers, shoes, top, just this random. It winds me up.
Like drawing a moustache on the Mona Lisa.
Goodness me! Right, last one for today. This is a funny one. It's little rain covers on bags. You know, they all come with one. And when it starts raining, you put this horrible little, like you see where I'm going with this, horrible little plastic sheath over the top of it. You can't. They're impossible to put on. They take up space in the big pocket of your bag when you're not using it. I personally think you should grow up, let your clubs get wet. It's not that deep, darling. Everything's going to be okay.
The picture you put up there is just the top one, the head bit.
What were you including?
Have you not seen these full length, like clear one? You're not seeing them?
No.
My mate Paul, who is chronically uncool. Yeah, like full, like an animal. You know the ponchos you get at Disney World?
But for a golf bag.
You can get them for golf, yeah. And so it covers the whole thing. So your pockets, your waterproofs don't get wet, your balls don't get wet. You can pull your little pouch open to get your clubs out.
Hateful.
I
can't stand them.
We have to get the functionality argument out of the way here straight away because it's incredibly functional. Not a thing gets through this. It's like a tarpaulin for the bag. Nothing gets through it whatsoever. So it's incredibly practical. But in no world what essentially amounts to a contraceptive for a golf bag.
It's a prophylactic for a golf bag.
Be deemed as cool, can it?
It's horrible. They're hateful little things.
Great for what they need to do. But this isn't about great.
You look awful.
Yeah.
So these little, so this is an even worse example, but these little ones that you put over the top that every bag comes with, it's in its little pocket. You see people scrambling around the tee, not know which way to put it around. You got to put it on poppers around the bag, and then you zip it up, and then zip it down again.
Quite often as well.
Zip it back up again. It's absolutely humping down with rain.
And quite often as well, because of the nature of them being cloth, like if it's heavy rain, often I've seen a form a valley.
It pulls.
Forms a valley. So
It
you're just
exacerbates
basically
the situation.
channeling water into your golf
Directly
bag,
into the golf bag.
directly onto your grips. I think functionality. Well, the major condom, the big full condom.
Yeah,
I think horrendously uncool. Well, it is, isn't it?
I didn't know there was such a big condom. I've not had to try to use that.
I'm going to put it over to you here to where you want to end up, because I'm going to Google and try and show you an image of the
thing.
Yeah.
Well, again, I just think there are other ways to keep your stuff dry. I just let my stuff get wet.
There you go.
Because I don't care. I think you should care less, quite frankly. They're only your cock.
Hang on.
What have you got?
I'm going to put. We'll put this up.
We'll have to put this up, obviously, if you're watching. Describe it for those.
Here she is. That's the full length there, look. That's exactly
116 centimetres. It's huge.
Yeah. These go over tour bags.
Only £7.50 on Shein.
Yeah.
What's that on a clothes
It'll
website?
be up there, so you can have a little look at it.
Have a little look.
I'll put the link in the. People might want it because it's a great. It's on a trolley here. It's on a trolley. Look.
Looks like a little old lady going to the shops.
Oh dear. So it'll go up there, but we'll put up a link in the description, because as uncool as it is,
£7.50 is good value.
£7.50 is going to keep your stuff dry.
Keep your stuff dry. Why is it on Shein? That's a fashion website, no?
Maybe we're wrong then. Maybe it's the epitome of cool.
Let us know. But I'm putting this above joggers on heinous.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, give me a pin.
So this is the worst of the worst.
This is now the worst of the worst.
Okay, this is the barometer.
After the shoe we can't talk about
congratulations.
Anymore. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Right.
Well done, bag condoms.
That's the end of the cool board for this week. And
that
now
might be the end of the cool board.
Altogether, yeah. So I think, did we go too far again? I don't know.
Oh, we'll find out.
I felt that was okay.
We tried it. We're balanced. It's balanced. And that is we're still offering consumer advice.
And we're offering the opportunity to purchase that in the description below.
We are. And we should have some affiliate. Would you have an affiliate program with Shein? We might
will by the time this goes out.
Yeah. That's cool board. I hope you enjoyed that. If you didn't, let us know. We could stop doing it.
How's that been? 55 minutes or something to this point.
Oh, God.
How's that been? We just had a couple of little chats. And I've still got to do a full what's in the bag. How's this possible?
Come on, then. Collin Morikawa doing
Collin
this
Morikawa,
week.
driver, tailor-made.
I've got nothing to plug. Should I do? Oh, actually, no. If you're this far and you're still listening or watching, you obviously like it, I think. Help us out. Review us on your podcast platform of choice. Little 5-star review on Apple or Spotify goes a really long way. And if you're watching on YouTube, like it, just say hello. If you've got nothing to ask us or nothing to say, just comment hello. Let us know you're there. And it's just nice to hear from people. I'll do some more correspondence next week now, but we get some lovely comments on there at the minute. So thank you for all of those. Do you want to do the what's in the bag?
Do you want to replug the Fuji comp?
It might be done. It's done
July
by the time this comes out.
31st.
Oh, July 31st?
Yeah, you said it went around to July 31st. I think it's worth mentioning again because I'm just so desperate for one of our listeners to win it.
Here's one for you.
Go on.
Do it. I've got something. You know what it is. So do it. I've got something interesting for you.
Go onto the Fujikura website.
The link's in our description.
Links in our description. They've got an amazing competition where you can win 2 tickets, full week passes to the Ryder Cup. The weekend will be spent in hospitality. There's other ridiculous things like you get 2 custom Ventus shafts with the US colours on. You get a £2,000 gift card to support your travel. You get
TaylorMade QI35.
TaylorMade QI35. It's it's probably the best prize I've ever seen.
All we got to do is put your email into a form or something.
Yeah, surely worth 5 seconds of your time for that. Oh my gosh. Get on it.
And we want one of you to win it so you can tell us all about it, right?
And yeah, if and when that happens, because we're hoping you will enter, we'll probably get in touch and try and send you on a mission of some content gathering and then feature you on the pod.
You can be on the ground for us. So from Josh Carpenter on Twitter, I saw this yesterday.
I know a Josh Carpenter.
Do you? Great. I played Augusta with Josh Carpenter. He's a lovely man.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, what's the golf business news, I think?
What did he play off?
Golf for Sports Business Journal he works for. 10?
Okay, not the same one.
Anyway, he was talking about the VVIP passes for the Ryder Cup. They're going for 10K per day or 35K for the Thursday to Sunday. And it's not far off what you've just explained. So on-course viewing
for 3
options.
days of it, isn't it?
Yeah. On-course viewing options at the clubhouse, premium F&B, which you might not get with this Fuji price, to be fair. I don't want to gas it up too much. What I'm saying is, on top of the $2,000, the value of what you could be winning here is tens of thousands of dollars or pounds.
Yeah, that is unbelievable scenes.
Links on description. You must be living in the UK, Canada, or the US to enter. Closes on July 31st. You can't be in Northern Ireland, though.
How dare you?
Unlucky Connor,
who
sent that email, who does live in Northern Ireland.
Tough episode for Connor here.
Tough episode for Connor. Good plugging. And please win that.
Collin Morikawa.
Yeah, do it.
Excellent player.
I really like him. I've met him twice, interviewed him twice.
Oh, here we go.
Lovely man.
Just dropped a name there.
Lovely man. I just like it when people are nice.
Where did you meet him, Dan?
Hawaii and LA.
Cool, nice, good for you. Where are we now? The Winner's Triangle.
Winner's Triangle.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm glad he is as nice as he seems, because he seems very composed, very thoughtful, very articulate. He's a nice dresser as well, doesn't he? You like an Addy guy, don't you? And he's he wears that stuff really well, and he always looks like he's thought about how he puts his outfit together, doesn't he?
Is his bag interesting before we get into this? Okay, good. So I'm just trying to keep people plugged in an hour in.
You can be the judge of this. But yeah, after shamelessly trying to destroy the QI35 franchise, Dan, we've got another player here. This is you who did that in QI35. So he was in Sim and Sim Max, I think, for ages and ages and ages.
Interesting. So they've managed to finally get him out of one, and that happened to be QI35. So.
Yeah, into the LS model in 9 degrees. He's got a Mitsubishi Diamond D Plus Limited 60TX shaft at 45 inches. He plays this profile all the way throughout his woods, which we'll get into in a minute. It's a really low launch and spin profile, but it's got quite a, I'm not going to say soft handle section, but it's quite a smooth handle section. So it's one of the few really low launch, low spin penetrating shafts that doesn't feel like a rod. Mm-hmm. It's got a bit of feel and a bit of feedback to it, and it's been actually quite a popular shaft for them. On the head, it's got I've put in my notes here, a big dollop of lead tape.
A dollop, that's a nice word.
Which you don't see much. So he's got quite a neutral setup on this driver as a whole. So it's 9 degrees. On the QI35 LS, you've got 2 weight ports at the front, which you can manipulate and change to draw and fade bias. He's just got 5 grams in both, so he's neutral setting
neutralised
there.
all that.
He's on a standard setting on the hosel, so he's got no fade or draw bias on the hosel either. And then directly between the 2 weights, that's where his dollop is of lead tape. And
what's he doing there, do you reckon?
He could just be trying to get more weight forward to take even more spin off. It could be that, but I don't know why you wouldn't do that with the adjustable weights. Again, it could be a swing weight thing, but again, I don't know why you wouldn't do that with the adjustable weights. I honestly don't know why he's gone down the lead tape route. And if it is just a weighting thing, there's ways of hiding that and making it look, because it looks a bit unsightly. You could have just hot melted it and put that weight in the internals, but there could have been the case that he just had the acoustic and the feel exactly where he wanted to be. And when you hot melt a head, that can dramatically sort of dampen the vibrations and subdue the noise a bit. So chances are he just was hitting it for a while. Maybe it was set up, maybe it was done, and it looks like a self-made job. He might have just gone, right, I just want to feel a bit more head weight. I'm going to slap that on, give it a try. Okay, that's perfect. I'll leave it. So he might have just not had, he might have been doing that himself, might have not had the facility to, whenever he was trying it, to get it hot melted, to change the weights or whatever. It might have just been, right, I'll slap that on, give it a try. Lovely. That's staying.
Are they allowed to do that? I feel like someone like him, who's heavily tailor-made sponsored, aren't allowed to go it alone. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they've always got their hand held by a Rietveld or someone on tour with them. I can't imagine them doing it themselves.
I don't think the manufacturer would love that. And he might not have done. I'm just making this up. Completely
conjecture. We love conjecture.
As normal. But yeah, I would imagine, when you've got access to what has been described to me as the world's best fitter in Adrian Rietveld, odd to go it alone, but these players do, and they're often
good for them,
tweaking stuff around in shafts and so on and so forth, and just trying things. So yeah, and for such a kind of predominant fader of the golf ball, I was interested to see the driver set up so perfectly neutral in terms of loft sleeve, weight distribution.
It's not encouraging a fade. It's not
encouraging fade or trying to soften it.
Driver was, for example.
With a grip on sideways, things like that. There was no encouragement or trying to mitigate that fade. It's just a really neutral setup driver, and he's one of the straightest drivers in terms of fairways hit, not necessarily shot
Ball
shape
flight,
in the game. So
love a fade.
Yeah,
I'm
he
glad
loves
that's
a
back
fade.
in.
He's exclusively fade off the tee.
Do you think that's to his detriment?
Not really, because when he goes, he can turn it over with his 3-wood, which he's got set up here a little bit differently. So he's still in an
Lovely
old
segue.
3-wood. Thank you. TaylorMade Sim in 3-wood. So
What a club.
as we always talk. Well, Sim, the titanium, the rocket version, so slightly lower lofted. But again, another example of people staying in an old 3-wood because you can, because the face doesn't creep and you get used to it and it's so volatile. It's been in this for yonks. 14 degrees, same shaft as in driver, but just heavier. So he goes into the 80 TX instead of the 60 TX. This one was released in 2020. I think it's sort of longevity in the bag is made even more impressive by the quality of what's preceded it. So we know how many people love QI10 and how that's just absolutely everywhere, that fairway wood. QI35 has had a subsequent real push. I keep seeing that popping up all over the place. People using QI35 product in fairway. The shuffle's coming down. it's all kicking off. For the audio viewers, we might have to take a brief break here. We're not going to take a brief break. Dan's just pulling the Dan's pulled the whole wall down.
Right, where were we?
Yeah. Right, the 3-wood. That's new. Right. Built to draw, Dan, this one. Do we need to compose ourselves for a minute?
Right, this is funny.
Okay, so for those listening,
You also just said for the audio viewers, I don't know what that means.
audio viewers.
You were panicking, weren't you? For
I
those
was
listening-
panicking. The sharp ball was going to hit me in the face. Half the wall just fell down, but don't worry. We're composed professionals, so we can get on with it. So talking about him just fading his driver, that 3-wood is set up a little bit more to draw. So he uses the upright side. It's very difficult to get my composure again. He uses the upright side of the sleeve, Dan. Put yourself together.
Sorry, help me out with the upright side of the sleeve. Same loft, but...
Well, he goes one click higher as well. So basically, if you go higher in a TaylorMade sleeve, you're towing in the face a little bit, so you're encouraging draw. If you're making a club more upright, you're encouraging more left, because the loft that's on the face is going to be tilted, and the loft is essentially going to point a little bit further
So
to the
it's
left.
quite well built up for a draw for him because he's such a prodigious fader with the driver.
Correct. So I think because he's so one-dimensional off the tee with his driver, with that cut, he needs an option, because there's going to be times where he just absolutely has to, Dan's just grinning at me here, where he absolutely has to just turn it over off the tee. So he would be someone who would drop down to his 3-wood for that. A Scheffler is someone who likes to do a bit of both with his driver. Just pull yourself together, Dan. Just some shafts fell off the wall. It's happened. It's gone.
I just can't wait to watch it back.
Yeah, it's going to be a great watch. And we'll deal with that when we get to it.
Back in the
Come
room.
here.
Back in the room. Gentle.
No, I was going to slap him hard. Right, so yeah. So he's got all bases of shape covered there at the top end of his bag, which is lovely.
I like that. It's a very strong setup.
Good. Oh, great input. Thanks, Dan. Really good. Back in the game really well
Swans
there.
have very long legs.
What a great
Said that
comeback.
again.
What a great comeback into the podcast you made there. 5-wood. I'll give you one guess.
QI10.
Yeah. QI10, bonded hosel, 18 degrees. Everyone in the world uses a TaylorMade QI10 bonded hosel fairway wood.
We're going to go and see TaylorMade on the weekend in San Diego.
That's
and
all I'm going to ask
And
about
that's
all
all
day.
I want to hear from every TaylorMade person, because
Yeah.
we've been talking about it for a year now.
Yeah, we're
I
interviewing.
can't wait to hear what they've got to say.
We're interviewing several experts within the team, and Adrian, the head tour rep. I've got one question for all of them. It's like, talk to me about QI10 fairway, bonded hosel. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Can't wait to find out.
Thank you for your time. Move on to the
just
next one.
leave.
Why? Same shaft as 3-wood. Mitsubishi Diamana D Plus ATTX. Don't need to relitigate
Similar
the-
to that one on the floor there.
That's it. Yeah, that's the badger down there. Irons. Now he's had a funny old bit of time with his irons, because I don't know if you remember the story about when he went over to the Scottish Open before he won the Open at St George's. Played Scotland the week before and just hated everything about the turf. He was having some really bad turf interaction on the links course, so he switched up his entire iron setup. I think he added some CBs or the MCs at the time and made a combo set, and then went on to win the Open at St George's. So like rectified it in a week on the tour van, which shows you the power of equipment if you did not know it by now.
Preaching to the choir, but yeah.
Correct. But yeah, now he's back in a slightly more conventional set. It's still a combo. So at the moment, he's in a P7 CB, which is the iron I've been playing, which I absolutely love. One of the best irons I think TaylorMade have ever released. 4, 5, 6 iron. And then he's in an older blade, the P730. You're still laughing about that, aren't you?
How old is the P730?
4 years?
Yeah.
There
can't be that many knocking around in bags anymore.
No, there isn't. There's lots of variations. So Raw's Proto are a 730
Basically a
slightly
730,
changed.
yeah.
DJ Proto's slightly changed 730.
Well, Collin had a P7 CM for a while. Is that still it?
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's not. But I was wondering about that. There's a few guys that have had their own irons and gone into the design room and said, I want this, I want that. This is what it's going to be. Colin's one of them. Ricky Fowler was another one. Remember those Ricky irons? Those gold Ricky irons?
They were evil.
No offset, tiny little blade.
I don't know who he thinks he is playing them,
well,
by the
he
way.
obviously got that wrong because he doesn't play them. He doesn't play them. He played them for like a couple of tournaments and realised he couldn't hit them. So I wonder whether that's sort of a commentary on players should just stay in their lane and play.
You're a player.
And let the club designers...
You're in a club designer, big
yeah,
man.
Stop telling them what to do. I want this, I want that. Just let them get on with it. And then fine-tune it from there. I wonder whether that's a testament to that. But yeah, he goes in the old P730, 7's a pitching wedge. Shaft, as almost all Tour Pros, Dynamic Gold, Tour Issue, X100s, all the way through. Wedges, MG4. Now, the Milgrind 4, I still say are TaylorMade's best wedges to date. We've seen some, as we speak, some prototyping of...
Oh, don't they look sexy?
The MG,
now, this is
what we think is the MG5.
When the Monday episode starts in the summer, we can just react to that there and then. So
Correct.
Isn't that fun for everybody?
And they look great. And this is nothing to do with me. But remember my chat with Matt Bovey, the TaylorMade iron designer, where I was going on about iron bounce and grind and he was falling asleep. I also said, why the hell don't you just invent a wedge? Instead of having these lines and graphics and fussiness, just make a wedge that says TaylorMade on it and just has like nothing but a loft and a little T-bug or something like that. It will fly out. Lo and behold, a year later.
Did you see, I think they're releasing some of them as the Proto?
Yeah, that's out at the moment. US only. You can get 2 lofts, 58 and 60, and a couple of grinds as the Proto.
Why are they doing that? Just because it's got
I guess it's
a bit of a tease.
A bit of a tease. And I would wonder whether it's to measure interest, gauge interest, possibly. I don't know.
TaylorMade, if you're listening, leave that thing
Yeah, just
alone,
leave it. Don't do anything to it. It's perfect. It looks great. But yeah, he's 50, standard bounce 09, 56, low bounce 08, and then a 60 degree. Again, like so many people, like I've done for years because Tiger did it, like Scotty does, like everyone I still believe does this because Tiger did it.
Just because of Tiger.
X100s in the main set, S400s in the wedges. It makes sense. It's softer because you're not putting as much load into it, but it is just pretty funny how we all do that because the greatest player in the game did it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Tiger was a significant figure in golf, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe he's quite big. Putter, TP Soto Proto. TP Soto Proto. He gets through a few. He's a prolific changer and tester of putters. He's gone claw grip. He was conventional for a while, left below. He's been trying different shafts, which I'll get onto in a minute. And he's often can be seen, even lately, actually, I saw him testing a Spider.
We had a Spider at Harbour Town.
Yeah.
That didn't go well. That was out after a round, I believe. And the US Open just gone. He lost 7 strokes on the greens through the first 3 rounds. He had 36 putts in the 3rd round alone. And I think he was at least top 10 for fairways and greens found that day.
Really?
And had 36 putts and shot
He often
74.
is.
It's just killing him at the minute because he's still playing good golf, I think, right now.
What always intrigues me, and like I'm not suggesting I know better here because I do not, but the characteristics I see with the better putters in the world. We had this chat with Richard Mansell. You're still giggling about the wall.
It's just really made me laugh.
Okay.
The walls just really made me laugh.
Yeah.
Let me enjoy it. I'm trying to enjoy myself.
No, do.
You prattle on.
By all means,
I'm
enjoy
going
it.
to giggle about that.
So Richard Mansell, who was also not, putting wasn't the strongest part of his game, ball striking is his real forte. The guys at Titleist were trying to stop him flitting about, try this, try that, because you never really learn anything from something. If you go into 2 weeks in something and then you're 2 weeks in something else, the pace, the feel, the sight line is going to be different. You don't develop the scar tissue, the emotional connection or whatever it is with that putter. Think of the best putters throughout history. Ben Crenshaw had the same little blade putter for, I think, his entire career. Tiger Woods, 14 majors with the same putter. Spieth's always had the same style of putter, although he's been a bit more vulnerable lately, but he's widely regarded as one of the better putters. Steve Stricker, that same sort of ill-fitting, wrong lie angle, Odyssey putter. Like, it's not the putter. It isn't. And if you keep, in my opinion, if you keep searching around, and I'm guilty of it. Well, no, I'm not really.
No, you're not. You've got that horrible toe-up thing, yeah.
But in the moment, I've put a different one in, actually, because I'm not playing. But I think I personally think almost every great Denny McCarthy, best putter on tour, little Scotty Half Moon thing that he's had forever from 15 years ago. Like, learn that putter intimately is your best. Oh God, he's such a fool. He's just grinning at the word intimately.
Nope, didn't do that.
Did? You absolutely did that. Check the tape.
Check the tape. Roll it back.
It feels to me that it's not. I don't know any putters, great putters, that are changing 4 times a year. I never see it. So I don't know why people like Morikawa, like Matsuyama, those type of people who struggle on the greens, just think a putter change is going to be the way forward. I feel like if you stick, you might be better off. Personally,
I completely agree. It's the sign of someone in a bad way, and fix the variable first, which is the thing you're putting with, then go sort out yourself.
Good advice, Dan. Good consumer advice.
Thanks, everybody.
Shafts interesting there, though, because putter shafts aren't often talked about.
No, they're not. We very rarely talk about putter shafts in what's in the bags. What is in his putter?
Well, he's had, in this TP Soto Proto, he's had a custom Mitsubishi Diamond 105. So basically, he plays a relatively light putter head, and it's a bit more of a phenomenon I've heard about lately, where the greens have been getting quicker and quicker on tour for years, and now they're just unputtably quick at times. The heavier the head weight, generally speaking, the more energy that will transfer into the ball. So people seemingly going a little bit lighter in head a lot of the time, so the ball doesn't come off as quick because the greens are getting quicker. But when you have a relatively light head and you couple that with a normal shaft, the balance of where that weight is distributed makes the head feel even lighter because you've got a heavy shaft moving the balance point up. He felt he wasn't getting much awareness of where the head was, so his instructor reached out to a few manufacturers and said, look, could you build a putter shaft? They wanted a lighter putter shaft. Most putter shafts are 110, 115, 120 plus. So he reached out to a few manufacturers. Mitsubishi took the challenge, and they created him a one of one. They do a putter shaft. They do a Diamond putter shaft. So the looks and the EI curve, so the profile of the shaft, are pretty comparable with the retail version, but it's just slightly lower torque. It's got a little more flex. You all right?
I remember the shaft.
You just remembered the shaft wall again, did you? Good. Which increases the effective swing weight, so it makes him feel the head a little bit more. I think we need to get to the end of this. Grips. Morikawa. Golf Pride Z Grip Cord, which are essentially the grips of a sociopath. They are, it's like putting your hands in a NutriBullet. They're the roughest. If you hit like an hour's worth of balls it shows you're hardcore. If you can do the practice that he does with a Z Grip Cord, you'd see the bone through my hand. It's like sandpaper in your hand. Some people love it, and that is, I think, that's they talk about red flags nowadays, dating and stuff.
Yeah.
Turn up with someone who's got Z Grip Cords.
Yeah, that's a red flag. Morikawa's a red flag.
What are their hands made of that they're not being worn away by them? Because he obviously practices. So
what makes them like this?
The cord. So the rubber's firmer than most of the other tour, the other grips I've felt in the Golf Pride range. The cord that's used, so like you get a Golf Pride Tour Velvet cord, the BCT. It's quite a soft, silky cord, but you can notice it. This stuff is like it's like a Brillo pad. It's like a scourer for your dishes, and it's not for me.
No, I can tell. Is it for more grip or just a sensation in your hand? Like, why would someone choose it?
People tend to go cord because they do prefer a rougher feel, or generally, I just saw your eyebrows go again.
Roll it back. I'm just sat here.
Because they prefer a rougher feel, or it has been mooted in the past that cord grips perform better in the wet. So he might be a sweaty palm guy. He might be an all-weather guy. Who knows? But the Z Grip non-cord, love it. That's a Z Grip non-cord down here on the shaft floor. So you've got a shaft wall up there. We've got a shaft floor down here.
So that's a Z Grip.
Yeah, imagine that. Now wrap a scour around.
Which for those listening has more cavities in it. I don't know.
Cavities, dimples.
There's a dip.
Yeah, sort of wider cavity. Yeah, cavity's not.
What's
a bad
it
word.
for?
Well, that's traction, isn't it? So like your tyres on a car, if they were smooth, they're going to be slipping. Slide around. So you put the sort of ridges in.
So do these ridges on the Z cord have the Brillo pad cord through it, as you've described it?
Not the ridges. The depressions will be empty. The cord comes between on the raised bits
on the rubber,
so you can really.
Good. I see what you're saying.
But it's
aggressive.
It's a super aggressive cord. Yeah, back on the shaft floor. So yeah, those are Collin's grips. Ball TP5, TaylorMade TP5X.
We like that ball.
It's just a really good ball. I've been playing it for years. That's my Brexit ball that you said. It's got the flag on the side of it.
For reference, it's got a big flag on the side of it, which is fine if that's your persuasion.
If you go back down the route. But yeah, I just think I like his bag. I like the top end, neutral driver. I like the draw setup with his 3-wood, blended combo set in the irons, a custom 1-of-1 putter shaft down the bottom, and the grips of a lunatic.
The way you described, I saw a social clip there. It's like putting your hands in a NutriBullet.
It is.
Good use of language. It's good language.
Half an hour. I would have a half-an-hour practice session. I'd be bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He must have workman's hands, not little moisturised hands like we have.
Little dolly
Nivvied up.
Yeah.
Right, it is definitely time. It is 1,000,000 degrees today. That's probably why the adhesive has come loose. It's that hot in here. The command strips have failed. But thank you, Joe.
And we didn't want to interrupt your audio pleasure by putting a fan on. That's how committed we are to providing you the best content we can. If that's not worth a subscribe or a like, I don't know what is.
Well said, Joe. Let's go get some fresh air. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. As always, any feedback on email. If you don't have anything to say to us and you're watching on YouTube, just say hello. We'd just like to hear from you. Reviews.
I'd like more than hello.
Okay. But they don't have to do War and Peace. They can just
something.
Next. Sorry, I was going to say something.
No,
just breathing heavily. Next week, we're going to chat about Bryson's new irons, the LA Golf irons. What are they all about? We've got a really interesting test this week that I'm excited to get into because I've not watched your main video on this. But MaxFly are back. The MaxFly irons are back.
Even though I sent this main video to Dan to have a little look at and check over for me, he said he wasn't interested and would see it when it came out.
As the pod is back, we've got a couple of really good questions next week. And the What's in the Bag will be Sepp Straka, informed man. I like him a lot and a really interesting bag at face value. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that, Joe.
Look forward to it, mate.
I look forward to it, Joe. And you. See you next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. So get some fresh air, eh?
I think so. Bye-bye.